Think about clothes for a second. You see a flowing dress, a sharp suit, and boom, instant assumptions about gender.
Absolutely. We do it automatically.
But what if we paused on that? What about cross-dressing? It's actually been around for ages, just like fashion's own gender
A
rules.
really long time, yeah.
So here's the question we're kicking off with. What if expressing yourself through clothes, even if it, blurs the lines, wasn't met with shame, but just curiosity?
That's a great way to frame it, and it really gets to the heart of what we want to explore today.
Definitely. Because in this deep dive, we're going into territory that's often, well, kept quiet. We're talking about the vital need for more open conversations about cross-dressing.
And we're using a really insightful article by Gender Benson as our guide here.
Yeah.
It really unpacks the silence.
Right. It looks at why this silence is so harmful and why breaking it down matters so much.
And for you listening, this is really a chance to get a better handle on something easily misunderstood. Our goal isn't just, facts and figures.
No, it's about trying to dismantle some of that shame, build real understanding, and maybe help people live more authentic lives.
Think of it as maybe a shortcut to understanding something often relegated to the shadows.
Yeah, exactly. Gender Benson's article, it puts forward this powerful argument that the silence isn't just like an awkward pause. It has real negative impacts.
It really does. The author argues that if we can just talk about it openly, we can change the whole story around it.
So let's get into it. The article starts by pointing out something quite interesting. How common the desire to cross-dress actually is, but how much secrecy surrounds it.
And what's key here, according to the article, is that this often isn't just a whim. It's not fleeting.
Right.
For some people, it's deeply tied to exploring parts of themselves. Maybe it's about connecting with femininity or finding comfort, even sensuality in certain clothes.
So it can be a pretty significant part of someone's identity, not just a casual thing.
Exactly. But then there's this heavy layer of fear the article talks about.
Yeah, it really emphasizes that, especially for men who cross-dress. This fear of being judged or misunderstood.
Or losing respect.
Yeah, that kind of pressure just forces it underground, doesn't it? Something so personal.
Well, yeah. And if you think about our society's kind of expectations around gender expression, how we're supposed to look or act.
And that silence, the article argues, that's where the real problem grows. It comes from not understanding, which makes cross-dressing seem taboo because it's not discussed.
Precisely. The silence isn't just like empty space. It allows prejudice to grow, unchecked by actual experience or understanding.
And the emotional cost, that's huge.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
The article calls it an emotional prison. That really stuck with me. It leads to feeling isolated, doubting yourself.
That internal voice asking, am I broken? Am I weird?
Yeah. That really captures the psychological weight of hiding a part of who you are.
But it's so important if you're listening and you've ever felt that about any part of yourself that doesn't fit the neat boxes, those unspoken rules about what's normal. You're really not alone in that feeling. It can be incredibly isolating.
So true. Which brings us to why the article stresses breaking the silence. Why is that so crucial?
Well, the core argument is that silence lets negative stereotypes just fester. They go unchallenged.
Right. If the only things people hear are negative or like sensationalized stories, that's what they'll believe.
But open conversation, that's the antidote. It replaces those assumptions with actual understanding.
The article highlights how dialogue helps loved ones understand too.
Oh, that's a key point. Understanding what it is and maybe just as importantly, what it isn't.
Right. It's not automatically about wanting to transition or about sexuality necessarily, or some kind of betrayal of masculinity or the relationship.
Without talking, those misunderstandings can cause real damage, unnecessarily.
And this gets us thinking about the sort of deeper societal things at play, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The article touches on why male cross-dressing often makes people uncomfortable.
Yeah, let's unpack that. It connects it to a really narrow definition of masculinity, right? This potentially toxic idea of what a man should be.
Strong, stoic, never showing vulnerability, that kind of thing.
And so wearing clothes linked with femininity gets seen as, what? Weakness, a threat.
It's a very rigid box, as the article puts it.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is the counter idea the article puts forward. Maybe real strength isn't about sticking to those rigid roles.
What is it then?
Maybe it's about authenticity, about being true to yourself. What if masculinity could actually include things like softness or elegance or appreciating beauty in different kinds of clothes?
That really reframes it.
It does. The article suggests that exploring cross-dressing isn't a rejection of masculinity, but maybe an expansion of it. It frees everyone from those tight expectations.
So the desire to cross-dress, in a way, challenges these old, outdated scripts about gender, and that's positive.
Ultimately, yes. It pushes towards more freedom for self-expression, not just for cross-dressers, but for all of us.
By questioning those rigid lines, we create more space for everyone to just be themselves, more honestly.
Exactly. Less pressure to conform.
Now, the article also talks about safe spaces, which makes a lot of sense. It points to the internet, actually.
How online forums, Reddit, YouTube, blogs, they've been lifelines for many. That sense of belonging, validation, it might be completely missing offline. So those online links can be a massive first step towards self-acceptance.
But it also says we need to sort of bring these conversations offline too, gradually.
Right, gradually is the key word. It clarifies, it doesn't mean everyone has to suddenly make some big public statement.
No.
It could just start with telling a partner or a really trusted friend, maybe showing someone a photo or finding a low-key support group.
Small steps. Building that understanding takes time.
It does. And the article also mentions something else really important. Allies.
People who don't cross-dress themselves.
Yeah, but who speak up in support. That allyship sends a powerful message. It says your self-expression is valid. It's respected.
That can make such a difference in normalizing things, creating a more accepting vibe overall.
Absolutely. When support comes from outside that immediate experience, it carries a lot of weight.
So, okay, let's say someone listening wants to start these conversations. Maybe about themselves, maybe to support someone else. The article has some practical tips, right?
It does, yeah. And it really boils down to honesty and patience.
Patience, because not everyone will get it right away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's okay. The advice is to share your personal story, your motivations, why you do it. Is it emotional, aesthetic? Does it just feel right?
Be open to genuine questions, too, it suggests, as a way to build bridges.
And also, crucially, don't let shame run the conversation. Own your experience.
But know your boundaries, too. You don't have to share everything with everyone all at once.
That sense of control is important. And for anyone listening who just isn't ready to talk yet, the article validates that too.
Right. Silence doesn't mean you're less worthy.
No. But it also gently points out the potential power in your voice whenever you do feel ready.
Looking ahead, the article kind of frames this moment we're in as a time when, traditional ideas about gender are being questioned more and more.
That definitely feels true. There's a lot more conversation happening.
And it suggests that people who cross-dress are actually playing a really significant part in that cultural shift.
It recognizes that change doesn't just happen top-down. It happens through individual stories, through courage, through community.
So by having these conversations about cross-dressing, we're actually helping shape a different future.
That's the idea. A future where maybe the next generation doesn't carry the same weight of shame, where we have more compassion in our relationships and more self-acceptance.